What's up, y'all? This is Henny. And today I'm coming to you in a state of gratitude, man. It's because of this channel. It's because of opportunities for me to give back through this platform that's given me so many new opportunities to just do new things, man. One of those new things is being able to teach at my alma mater, Morehouse College. This semester, I am currently teaching music technology and online branding, and we just passed week 4. So it's only right that I give y'all a taste of what's going on in the classroom. This week I had the pleasure of having my good friend, my brother, CHILDISH Major, on for another episode of The Producer's Path. This man has an amazing story, from moving to Atlanta from South Carolina to get his music production going, to getting uncomfortable making music wherever he possibly can make it, to creating hits, to completely pivoting to becoming one of today's up-and-coming dopest hip-hop artists. This is what I do. I gotta give it to you straight, showing y'all how he sacrificed, what he supplemented, and what he substituted to get where he got. This is The Producer's Path with my man CHILDISH Major over there at my alma mater, Morehouse College. You know what to do. Let's go! What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
How you feeling?
I'm good.
So, if you don't know, CHILDISH Major, hip-hop artist, producer, as well as, man, just extraordinary dude who just knows his worth. And so, tell me a little bit about, you know what I'm saying, how you got started in the production game. And what were you using?
Still using.
Okay.
I'm from South Carolina, small town called Edgefield. Been making beats since I was like 13. I've been using like FL Studio since that shit was like 6 or something like that.
Yeah.
For a super long time or whatever, was using FL Studio. I went to college for like a year and a half at South Carolina State. Within like my second year, I had a friend who was out here in Atlanta, and he was producing for like Travis Porter and Cash Out and all them. So at the time, I'm just like, man, it looks like that's my end, you know what I'm saying? So I just decided to get up and move to Atlanta on some like super humbug, couch surfing, just thugging it out type situation, working where I can. But I spent all day, every day just making beats. My partner, who was doing the Travis Porter and Cash Out stuff, it was DJ Spence.
Yeah.
And y'all familiar with Hood Rich? Any of y'all from Atlanta?
From Macon.
Macon? You from Aiken?
Macon, Georgia.
Oh, Macon, Georgia. Okay, so y'all know about Hood Rich though, right? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So Hood Rich started a production group. It was me, Spence, C4 Bombs, and Done Deal. I don't know if y'all know them like that, but so started off with them, and we was just like, you know, they had a situation where we could just put beats in a Dropbox, basically. Mm-hmm. And I was just making beats every day, like head down, not really knowing where the beats was going, but just kind of just trusting my faith in God and just trusting the people, you know, that said it was going to help me in the situation or whatever. So I'm just putting beats in a Dropbox, not thinking about like what kind of thing about
How many beats was you putting in Dropbox a day, though?
A day?
In the early years.
At least like 5.
Okay.
At least like 5 in a day, you know what I'm saying? Like ideas, like at the time, like my beats wasn't like, even to this day, like I don't like sequence them out perfect or like, you know, put all the drops in there, make sure it's like mixed crazy. But for me, it was just about getting dope ideas out and making sure that y'all was seeing progress in there every week or every day.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But like I said, just head down, just dropping stuff in a Dropbox. So I'm doing that for maybe like probably about a year and some change with the Dropbox situation or whatever with Hood Rich. But at the same time, I'm working within the community as far as like Atlanta goes, 2-9, which it was a group, like when I first got here, maybe like 2011, 2-9 was like, who can I compare them to? I don't even know.
Yeah.
I don't know. 2-9 was like the odd future or whatever of like Atlanta at the time.
Right.
And I was just like real click tight with them, you know what I'm saying, running around with them, events and parties and all that stuff, just building those relationships on the ground level. So like while I'm putting beats in the Dropbox to get placed with bigger acts and bigger artists, at the same time doing my, you know, due diligence in the streets with working with artists who are on the come up and who could like spread the word about me throughout, you know, other artists and people that they know throughout, whether that be internet. People was always, oh man, hey, y'all heard this cat Childish Major or whatever, blah blah blah, or whatever, and they seeing me producing stuff for them online, throughout the internet and stuff like that. So, eventually, like I look on Twitter one day and I see Childish Major produce for a record. You don't even know Rocco Future Rick Ross produced by Childish Major, and I'm just like, my life has changed. Like, I'm out of here. You know what I'm saying? And in a sense, I was, but it wasn't as easy. You know what I'm saying?
So
you don't get your check like that.
Was that? So that was part of the batches that we were putting in the Dropbox. One of those beats?
So that one of those
Okay.
beats was a batch that I put in the Dropbox. So
Yeah.
it's like it came out on a mixtape. So it's like I ain't even know that it was coming out. It just happened.
Wow.
And sometimes that's how it is, and sometimes that's how you got to kind of put yourself out there
Yeah.
if you want it to happen. You know what I'm saying? I was never like a SoundClick like a SoundClick type producer where I would just put all my beats on there. I wanted to be a little bit more exclusive and have like a real hands on what I was creating. But that shit just kind of happened with the whole Dropbox situation.
So you linked up with some cats out here. You're not even from here. You started coming down here, eventually moving down here. You started putting tracks in a Dropbox, and that is my key point right now. It's just sometimes you gotta learn to just trust the process, because some cats will be dope and they'll be like, nah, I ain't finna do all that. I don't know where it's going. I don't know how y'all gonna work my stuff. You're gonna change it. You're gonna switch it out. If somebody else is gonna. You have all these questions, and every question that you ask, somebody else can close the door.
Yeah, I
They're gonna
say
close
you
the door.
gotta get the game started. Like, just go ahead and get like press play, even if it's like on. Not saying like that, but like even if sometimes a coming in the game on a bad situation makes for a better story, and it makes for a better you learning the business, makes better for just getting the game started.
Yeah.
It's people that can't even would pray for a bad situation in the game,
Yeah.
then be on the outside, wishing they was in it. You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
So
So you have this, you ain't Rocco hits, it starts hitting radio, starts becoming a great success.
mm-hmm.
Then what happens?
So then, I started getting more calls and stuff about like working with other people, like bigger names. I ended up doing like 4 records on Jeezy's album, and just started meeting other people, and started growing in that sense with the production. I do a pub deal. Through the pub deal, end up meeting way more producers in other areas of the U.S. In LA, start making trips out to LA, making connections out there, and just other people. For one, of course, to work with and stuff like that. But you really just want to find your tribe, like your people, like who's your clique type people that you could really grasp, whether y'all in the same space or not. Like this is somebody that I just rock with genuinely, whether we doing music or not. Cause then when y'all do music together, it makes for that much more sense. That's why you see a lot of like those real rare relationships between a producer and an artist. A lot of those times where it's like it seems like they just super click types, because they really are. It's less about the music and more about the genuine relationship, and they make sure that the business is gonna be alright. But I would say that's like a super important thing, is just making sure you're making like real connections with people.
So at what point you get this pub deal, you start going around, the U.S. and start producing, getting into sessions with all these other artists and start producing with other people. At what point did this itch happen for you, as far as like, I really want to make my own music?
Artistry and stuff.
Yeah.
That came from me being in these sessions. So I'm a producer. I'm just solely a producer at this point. But when I get in sessions, I had a cousin fly down from Minnesota. He knows how to do everything. He's a rapper, singer, engineer, producer. He does everything. But he taught me how to engineer for the sake of me being in sessions with artists or other writers, and me being able to really run the session and not have to depend on the engineer telling him what to do or whatever it might be. And just so you could get your creative idea out, solely, and not have to depend on anybody. So I was learning how to do that as far as like just for running the sessions. But I would have sessions by myself, or at the end of the day or whatever, go to the studio and just record my own ideas and stuff like that. Then I started having my own music, and was at first just trying to use it to press play on people to try to get the records placed. But when people heard what I was doing, it was like, yo, you're actually kind of dope. You know what I'm saying? So
were you just playing, or I'm not saying playing, but in your mind, this is where you're going. Did you make the conscious decision, say, this is what I'm doing, or were you just kind of just throwing stuff at the wall?
at this point, I was just throwing stuff at the wall, and really, the stuff I was making early on wasn't like songs. It was like me just putting vocals on beats, and I thought it was dope, but it would be like something you'll hear vibey on SoundCloud or something like that. Not like a real song structure or anything like that. Excuse me. But what I would do is I would take it over to the office side of our building and play it for people that had already been in the industry, and they would be like, yo, you know, you got to make records for performance aspect. Like, start thinking about song structure, it really sounding like a song, like beat-wise. You know what I'm saying? You could still get on orthodox or left field with it, but there's like certain elements that need to be in the music in order for you to perform it. You know what I'm saying? I just started thinking about all the other things. So then I go back in the studio with a different mindset, and I'm starting to make songs, like songs that feel like, whether they feel like radio, whether they feel like, you know, B-side cuts or whatever it might be, but they were like songs, they were full, you know? And then ended up forming a project together. Before I ended up, you know, really putting a project out, I started doing shows and stuff, and was flopping shows, like, it was just bad shows.
Why?
It was bad. 'Cause they were bad. They were bad because the records weren't performance records. Like, they were bad records. Like, it was just like too vibey, too slow. It was like I wasn't really saying nothing. I wasn't really talking about nothing. But, well, I might have been talking about something, but it just wasn't a song for me to perform. So the shows went bad or whatever, but it became a moment where it was like, do I really want this, or am I just going to, you know what I'm saying, go back to being the guy behind the scenes? And I really wanted it. So I started changing up the way I made songs, you know, to have that performance aspect, because it's like, if you want it, you kind of got to follow certain rules. And then once you become at the top of your game or whatever, then you could change the rules. But when you playing somebody else's game, you got to kind of tap in.
So speak on those rules. Like, you're saying, like, you had some bad shows, you had some situations, you're like, yo, this is trash. Yeah. How do I make this better? So what are the rules that you kind of had to do in your mind to make better records, to make better performances?
Okay, so you know yourself better than anybody. If you can't really sing, not if you can't really sing, if you can't sing at all,
right,
without the help of effects and all that stuff, it doesn't make sense to record a whole R&B project.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of times as producers who can, you know, record ourselves and make songs, it's like we think that just because we can make the song, that
we have the technology.
Because we have the technology, that is going to take us as far as we need to go. And it's like, nah, we need to figure out exactly what songs we're going to be comfortable performing, what type of songs we're going to be comfortable performing. And I think that was like the biggest thing that helped me, was figuring out what's my lane, what's my world, you know what I'm saying? Not only song-wise, not only content-wise, but performance-wise. And once I figured that out, because once, like, being comfortable in the studio with it is one thing, but when you're on stage and you look like the music, you feel like the music, you look comfortable with the music, then that's everything. It all adds up. And then when it makes sense to everybody else, then that's money, you know? So,
now you started, but can you give me a time frame of like when you started to actually say, okay?
So 2013 the beginning of 2013 is when I get the hit production-wise.
Yeah.
About mid 2013 is when I started, you know, like writing for other people and started, you know, playing with ideas of recording myself. By the end of 2013, I had what I thought was like a project. I had enough songs for a project, but it wasn't performance quality. By the beginning of 2014, I'm starting to get in the flow of like what type of music I want to make and, you know, all that. I didn't drop the project till last December.
2017.
2017. Yeah. So from the end of 2013 up into the end of 2017, that's what it took for me to get to the point to where I'm now, where I'm on my second national tour starting next, well not next, the 20th of this month. But it's like that's the process you gotta, you know what I'm saying, if you wanna be an artist, you know what I'm saying, it's like that's how long the process can take. You might already be in your bag, you know what I'm saying, where you already know exactly where you might wanna be as an artist, but you know what I'm saying, you gotta there's a lot of things that you gotta think about other than just is the music dope. Now the music can just be dope and you might get a hit out of nowhere, but if you can't perform it or deliver another one on the next, it's gonna be short lived.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? The career gonna be short lived.
So like I said before, and kind of like the first class, it's kind of like be very, very conscious of what you want out of this, you know, because you ask for something, you pray for it, you meditate and believe on it. It might take a lot longer than you think. If you want it to be big, if you want it to be great, if you want it to just happen, it might just happen. If you want it to be something monumental or something that's trend-setting, it might take a while. He's talking about he started out young, producing, like a lot of y'all. Then he started getting some traction. Then he started to get, you know, an actual placement and a hit and things like that. Then said, I'm going to pivot and it goes somewhere else. And it took another 4 years to get to a place where he felt confident enough to put it out. And so even y'all at this point, understand that if you're starting to produce, if you're starting to get into, I know you're just starting, right? You're just starting. Some of y'all have been producing for a while. Understand that it took me 10 years until I got my first real big records. And that's 10 years. You know, think about 10 years ago, I was young boys. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, let's be real about this.
When
so,
you get it,
what? Go ahead.
I was about to say, when you get it from that, when you on that long path, first of all, if you on that path for that long, you love it. It's like, it's beyond just you trying to get a check or you just trying to do something. But when it takes that long for you to get it, when you get it, you're able to sustain because you've done it so long. It's like second nature. You know?
And it's so fulfilling, right? So what were some of the things that you had to go through beyond music, right? Because we talk about the music, we talk about the branding and all of that, but what was it internally that you kind of felt like you had to build up to get to this point that you're at right now, or at least the point that you were at to put your first project out?
Confidence.
Okay.
Confidence is like one of the biggest things. I think that comes from support system and just the people around you, you know what I'm saying? It don't matter what it is that you're trying to make. I think it's just important to have people around you who get the vision and are like-minded, because they, you know what I'm saying, they pour into your cup, you know what I'm saying? Like Groove, who, you know, he came through initially with Henny, you know what I'm saying, just on some production stuff, but when he was coming through, it wasn't even on no work. A lot of times it was really just me letting me press play on him and him just giving me his honest opinion, and that, for me, that did a lot, just because it was like, I wasn't really playing music for anybody, so I'm just, you know, really testing it out and just knowing his ear just based off what he likes in music. I would know if he rocks with someone of mine, then it's like I'm on the right path, you know what I'm saying? And it's important to have those type of people around you. Not yes man by any means, like, not yes man. It's not it. Yeah. But somebody who's going to tell you when it is on, it's on, you know what I'm saying? And that's like super important. So building confidence was like a heavy thing for me. Work ethic, you know what I'm saying? Work ethic, when you got your days when you go to the studio or you working on something and you like, man, this ain't it, it's whack or whatever, and it's like the drive to want to come back and keep going, you know what I'm saying? Like, cause I had my days where I've been like, man, I ain't got it. Like, I thought I had it, but I ain't got it. You know what I'm saying? You gotta keep rocking with it. Like, it's not gonna happen overnight. A sound you trying to develop, a confidence in your voice that you want to hear on certain types of records is not gonna happen overnight. Like, the songs I made when I first started recording to where I'm at now is like, it's like crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're gonna be able to hear the difference over time naturally if you just keep doing it.
Yeah. So there's, as we talk about this path to your success, and now that you're at this level where you're about to go on your second national tour, your confidence building, you're about to, you know, getting ready to gear up for a whole nother project. Let's talk about the 3 S's that I have. What did you sacrifice? What did you supplement? And what did you substitute to get to where you're at? What did you sacrifice? What did you substitute? And what did you supplement? So what did you give up, right? What did you have to add on, right? And then what did you have to swap out? Let's talk about sacrifice.
Oh, okay. Sacrificing. I gave up. But in the early days, I gave up being comfortable, like whether that be where I'm sleeping, like trying to be fitted, like swagging and all that shit, like.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can say shit, but
yeah, no, it's all
no,
good.
okay, yeah, but like just being. It's a lot. It's a lot. Sometimes food, like eating good, eating healthy. You gotta, I don't know. It was like a lot of things that you might be comfortable with. Like you want to step out and go club and go party and stuff like that. Sometimes you just gotta say no, especially early on. Like I do it all the time now, just because I got a little bit more leeway. But early on, it's like sometimes that stuff's not important. It's like it's way more important for me to hone in on this craft and get this, just get, you know what I'm saying, get better. Because when it happens, you just want to be able to sustain it, you know? That's like one of the biggest things. And a lot of that stuff ain't really important like that. And, what else would I say?
Sacrifice.
Sacrificing. Being honest, relationships.
No, real shit.
Early on, you know what I'm saying? Relationships, like, with women. Ain't never gonna be happy about you being in the studio or working on anything, but whether you was doing this or being a doctor, you ain't gonna have time early on, like, you know. And I think sometimes you just gotta find somebody who understands.
Yeah.
You know.
So then, what did you supplement? What did you have to add to yourself or to your situation to make it to where you're at?
My relationship with God, for sure.
Yeah.
Or any higher power that you think about, you know, that's in your world. That's like number one, because it's gonna be times where you ain't got nobody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Where you ain't got nobody that's gonna sometimes not even encourage you. And maybe you might have everybody, but it's times where you can't even see that you have anybody. You know what I'm saying? Because you're gonna be kind of head down and just trying to figure it out and thinking that you got to figure it out on your own. So I would say that's one of the big supplements is your relationship with God.
Word.
When you're talking to God, you might want to pray for like-minded people and people that pour into you and not take out. That's super important. Just the energy around you, just making sure that it's uplifting, you know.
And then what did you have to switch out? What did you have to substitute? Like, whether it's people, whether it was situations.
Definitely had to substitute some people, and I mean, you definitely got to substitute some people. And the funny thing about it is that sometimes people don't even know that they're toxic, and it ain't even. Sometimes it's not even that I hate certain people or whatever, but like I got people that I call brothers that I just kind of had to we just had to part ways on our everyday, you know, interactions and stuff. You know what I'm saying? When I see him, it's all love. We talk, we catch up. It is whatever it is. But it's just I think his path was just different than mine. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's something you kind of gotta realize. It's a hard conversation to have, and sometimes you don't gotta have a conversation. Sometimes it just naturally happens. You know what I'm saying? But you just gotta be super mindful of the people you got around you. You know what I'm saying? I say this, when I was working with Hood Rich, the environment that I was in was not conducive to me making music.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but to some it might, to some it might not.
Yeah, to some people it might be cool. To some people, to me it really wasn't. I was waking up in studios, there's guns and drugs on the table, and you know what I'm saying? That's not really my vibe. You know what I'm saying? Just not my vibe. You know what I'm saying? But for a lot of my friends, it's that's cool with them. That's fine. But I feel like me knowing that wasn't for me led me to find where my environment was, where it'd be me being at a random house in the country with J. Cole, and it's just 5-6 rooms with just studios, and we just bouncing around from room to room, just making beats. You know what I'm saying? that's the type of vibe I wanted, and I had to attract it, but I had to let go of what I didn't want to, you know, get what I did want.
Man, so all in all, y'all understand, like, a lot of what he had to go through to get to where he's at was about what he sacrificed, you know, what he supplemented, what he substituted to get to where he's at, and now, you know, he's on the rise. And so if you guys have a few questions with somebody who, you know, who's been there, who's seen it, and is willing to, you know, give up his time to just be able to sit down with y'all and
ask whatever.
You know what I mean? Like let's hit it, you know, because like I said earlier when we were talking about playing beats in front of everybody, like you gotta sell yourself. So who got the questions?
What's going on?
Yeah.
Well, like, what did you mean when you were saying like you were putting music into the Dropbox every day?
Okay, so that was so like the production group that I was a part of with Hood Rich and everything, they had set up a drop. You know what a Dropbox is, right? Yeah, they had set up a Dropbox so that, you know, we would just put beats in there, like me and all the other members, we would just put beats in there, and they would go around and do the leg work, basically go in the studio from studio. They had all the relationships, so they would go from studio to studio or go, you know, to meetings and just play beats for artists or A&Rs or whatever it might be. So it was like basically a situation where we just didn't have to do all the leg work. All we had to do was produce every day.
So say for instance when we're talking about maybe co-producing with other people, somebody has a Dropbox account in here, right? You say, yo, this is my co-production folder. He's gonna put a folder in his Dropbox, right? And then he shares it to your Dropbox or your email account. And so any idea or any beat that you have, you can just drag that if you're using a computer, or you can upload that if you're using a mobile device to that folder on Dropbox, and then that other person on the other end can see all those files and use them however they need to be. So it can work multiple ways, whether you're shopping tracks or you're collaborating with people. Who else got a question?
Super important.
I wanted to ask about the pub deal. When
Yeah.
you were talking about it, can you explain more in depth about the pub deal, like what that means? Like the general aspects of what the deal, what the record company do for you, what you as an artist gotta do on your own, and stuff like that.
Okay, so with the pub deal.
Yeah, come on. That's where the money at.
That's where the money is.
Uh-huh.
No, all right, so
Look up.
so there's two aspects of music really. Is you got the master side, and then you got the pub side. The pub side is basically like is the writing and the production. It's like what makes the song. You got lyrics, and then you got the actual elements of music that makes it or whatever. When you make a song with an artist, it's basically split up on two sides. You got 50% that's music, and then you got 50% that's writing, and y'all split that. And then if it's more than one producer on it, I mean it goes every which way. But let's say it's you and your homie and y'all make a beat, it's 25-25. You know what I'm saying? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Yeah. So with the pub deal, they basically, my situation, they gave me a upfront, some money, to basically create opportunities for me and to basically own a percentage of my pub, you know, which is like give and take. At the time, for me, it made sense.
Right.
Because I was down bad, I was just ready to be up. I was just ready to be up, but what I would preach now is if you're good, like no matter where you are in life, if you feel like not content, but you know where you're gonna go, but like as far as like living situation, like you don't really have to want for anything, then I would say hold out as long as you can, because for one, if you hold out as long as you can and you're making, like you're getting records, you're getting hit records, or you're just getting records on albums, and it's just growing and growing, and your name is growing and all that. The longer you hold out, the bigger bank you can cash out on later. And there's another option outside of pub, which is an admin deal.
There you go.
Which is an admin deal, which is essentially kind of the same thing as a pub deal, but they're not owning, they're only collecting. Am I right?
Yep.
They're only collecting. You know what I'm saying? So they're only basically collecting your
royalties.
Your royalties.
All the money that's coming in, and then
So what is it? Is it ASCAP and all that?
No, that's a PRO company.
Yeah. So
Like,
the
CD
thing,
baby?
so when it comes to royalties, when it comes to the money, I'm gonna have a whole nother class on that, just so that y'all, because it gets so technical on all the different ways that you can make money, and I want y'all to really understand that. And I want to bring back my attorney Shay to be able to really help me break that down as
Yeah,
well.
I might pull up for that too. You can never.
You can never get enough knowledge on that.
For
Now,
real.
Childish, you were saying that when you got in the pub deal, whoever asked the question,
Mhm.
when you got in the pub deal, you said they put you in even better situations. You were like, I was in good situations, and you were like, once I got in a pub deal, they put me in even better situations. What situations did the pub deal put you in?
So with the within the pub deal situation, I got to meet and I can't even. Now I'm thinking back to a place where I forgot.
Yeah, yeah. Go there.
I'm trying to think. Man, there was so many writers. All right, I can't name everybody off top, but I will say that. So Universal is who I signed to on the pub side. Now, if you think about Universal, like there's a pool of writers and artists and producers who are in there, and that's like majors and like up and coming. Well, with my situation, I was able to get in a room with a lot of people who are necessarily with me. That's Kelly Rowland, French Montana, SZA, Kendrick Lamar. There's a lot of different people that I met based off of my pub situation. Now, getting in those rooms is only the first step.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because everybody could get in the room, but it's all about, for one, how you are, your studio etiquette, like just you as a person, like you know, it's one thing to be like, yo, Kendrick, I got some beats for you. It's another thing to be like, how you been, or you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like different levels to like the relationship, and I wouldn't say force anything, but it's always better to like have that homie situation rather than the straight up work.
Salesman.
It's straight up salesman, because everybody's gonna be trying to sell them something. Yeah.
One more.
Appreciate it.
Any more questions? Anybody else?
I was curious, like how you just like how rough did they get just sleeping on going from couch to couch, and like, you know, how did you stay
Maintain?
stay in your music bag when you don't know where you laying your head
Man,
Honestly,
good question.
that's a very good question, man. I had a great support system, man. I had for one, God, like I said, just, you know what I'm saying, that was like off top the number one thing that probably like kept me straight. But just being a good person and not just sleeping on people's couches. You know what I'm saying? Because it's one thing to ask for a place to stay, but it's another thing to be in somebody's crib and just be comfortable. I've seen people try to do the same thing that I was doing, but they wasn't as hungry about it. So for me, like, I sleep there at night, maybe for a couple hours, but the next day I'm up and I'm out. I'm not even probably, like, I was working jobs. I was taking the bus to go work at Home Depot, working at Crystals, working at Publix. Like, my mindset was that if I am gonna stay here, you ain't finna see me here. You know what I'm saying? That's one aspect of it. And then yeah, man, you just can't let that be your situation. You can't sit and sulk in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, my mindset was always, it's funny because, like, now I won't make a beat everywhere, but back then I would make a beat anywhere.
Yeah.
I'd make a beat anywhere. I'd be at work making beats. I'd be, you know what I'm saying, outside on the sidewalk. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter. Like, anywhere I make beats. I need to get back on that. But
I mean, that's that hungry, right?
But
I mean,
yeah.
a lot of it is, you know, another thing we can talk a lot about is just etiquette as far as trying to get yourself forward, because the biggest thing you can always do is when somebody shows you some gratitude, just to be gracious, to add value any way you possibly can. Like,
Right.
he was saying, yo, like, shit, like, can I sleep on your couch or whatever? Like, yo, you need me to trash or dishes, or, you know, something random. Like it might could be something simple that might be like, oh man, my man's added value. Or, yo, can I come to the studio? Can I pull up on you? Okay, cool. What I would always do, you know, if it was, you know, the last few years, I would bring a bottle, some drinks or whatever. I knew somebody was drinking something or whatever. I would add value to the situation so it never seemed like I was just coming in trying to take.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that's always, the more that you do that, the more that you're trying to add value. Go ahead.
No, it's what you said. It's what we always talk about. How you do one thing is how you do everything.
Right.
It's really what it comes down to. How you do one thing is how you do everything. If you like half-ass it, and like whatever it is, like you treat any opportunity like it's the next big opportunity.
Right.
That way you never have to work because you never know who's watching.
Right.
Like you never know who's the person when you just like, man, let me take out the trash, and it's a VP that sees it, like, who is that?
Yeah.
Or can I do this? Like you never know who's in the room because some of the most powerful people in the room don't always say anything, or they don't look like they're the most powerful person in the room.
That's
and then
nice.
you disrespect that person, thinking that you're doing something. I've seen plenty of people talk about opportunities they lost. Like, man,
Blew that one.
some of them they don't even mess with me. Why? Because of something they did years ago. Just disrespectful.
And
like
it
not
just-
even knowing it because they thought they were oh man, I'm the one.
Full circle, what is it based off of? Selling yourself,
Yeah.
not just selling your stuff. You know what I mean? So, man, I want y'all just, you know, give some love to my brother Childish. Thank you, my brother.
Well, I always hope y'all get something out of these videos. Being able to have my friends, my colleagues come in and tell their stories is always an awesome thing. And it just allows those who are coming up to see what it takes to get to that next level. So that's what we had going for this week. Thank you all for supporting me throughout this journey. I swear, man, you keep doing this, going one-on-one with the lens and sharing it with the world. Opportunities just come left and right. So I'm so thankful. I'm so grateful. And yeah, we out here 8-3C this weekend. If you see me, come holla at your boy. I'm out here in the city, man. Yeah, man. If not, you know, I'll check y'all in the next one, man. Thank y'all for watching. See y'all next week. And I'm out.